Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Well, here we are. Hi, everyone. Here, Tommy Walker, the Mind Engineer. And today, another day, we're going to be covering about the inner critic. As I've spoken several times, what I've seen out there is a lot of people dealing with the inner critic by criticizing more the inner critic, right? Criticizing yourself because you're criticizing, ignoring it, shutting it up. And today I want to, in a way, bring another perspective on how to start dealing with the inner critic that I believe is much more effective and more loving towards yourself. So the idea is to be able to understand a bit more, why was the inner critic created? What is it protecting us from or trying to help us in a way, right? And why is it really there? When we can understand these things, guys, we can then start working on making changes. So let's get on with this. And for this lecture, again, I want to share the whiteboard that's going to make it a little bit easier to understand, okay? So I hope you guys can see this. I'm going to check over here, see if everything is okay on Facebook too. Yeah, here we go. Perfect. Yeah, it's working. So we got you, of course, you, yes. And according to the environment you were put in, okay, the people and the circumstances you started going through, that started in a way creating your belief system. Okay, so what I normally teach is that there is a part of me that feels, there is a part of me that thinks. So we start separating you into these kind of smaller yous, yes, smaller yous, and you're going to understand that there are many of these. Okay, now we're going to delete, we're going to just keep one, but we're going to deal with the inner critic. Yes. We're talking about also procrastination. That could be another part of you. Yes. And as I was saying, if you try to push procrastination, many times what happens is you procrastinate more. The same is going to happen with the inner critic. So the inner critic was created for a reason. So the idea is to try to identify why was the inner critic created. So when we were kids, imagine, I'm going to just give you an example. Imagine that your parents were hard on you. So when they were hard on you, why were they hard on you? Was it because they didn't love you? I'm pretty sure that it wasn't. It was normally because they loved you and because according to their expectations, you needed to perform in this way or in another way, right? To be, in a way, for them to feel loved and maybe accepted by society. So imagine that if they have an 8 student kid, that is going to give them, recognition and acceptance by society, by other parents, right? If they think that they're going to be good parents if their kids behave, if their kids have good grades. And I see that a lot. So as you were exposed to that criticism and then judgment, right, it was for you to fit into a specific model for then them being accepted and recognized in society, other parents at school or whatever, right? So how you behaved or the grades that you got define them as parents, okay? So you might have started learning that by pushing yourself, you were going to be able to get the results that you expect. Does this make sense so far, guys? Why could it be? And there could be several reasons, but just to give you an example, why could it be that you might be judging and criticizing yourself around specific areas? Type a yes in the chat if this is making sense so far. So there's a part of you that was judged and criticized to try to fit to a specific, expectation that your parents had of you. So in a way, they would have felt accepted if you performed as they expected you to do. The criticism and the judgment in a way for them to feel accepted and recognized. So now you could have associated in your mind that judging and criticizing yourself might get you closer to what you want to accomplish. Type again a 1 in the chat if that is making sense, that judging and criticizing you might get you closer to what you want to get. Okay? Look at this again. Your parents judge you and criticize you to try to meet their expectations. So now you've learned that if you judge and criticize yourself, you might be able to achieve certain things. So you created this inner critic. It's a part of you that you created. Why? Because you're using this as a protective mechanism. What does that mean? Again, guys, yeah, sorry, let me, there we go. Let me resize this a little bit more. There we go. Protective mechanism. The inner critic, guys, is a protective mechanism. The same way we were talking about procrastination, let's talk about inner critic. Most of the times, the inner critic that you created is a way of achieving. Why? Because look at this again. If I'm hard on myself, right? If I push myself, I might get results. Yes. If I get results, that might make me feel good about myself. Does this make sense so far, guys? Type 2 in the chat if this is making sense, guys, please. Type 2 in the chat if this is making sense. So the inner critic is a part of you, guys. Thank you very much for the yeses and the twos and everything. Thank you. So if you're watching on social media, guys, on Facebook, if you want to write #live, that you know that you're, hey, Amber, how are you? Thank you for stopping by. And all the people here, Richard, Alexa, JP, Mary, Romana, and Suzanne, thank you for being here. So the inner critic that is now in your mind is a part of you. It's you that is trying to protect yourself by kicking and pushing yourself and judging yourself in an attempt to try to get results. Because those results, and this is depending on each person different, but let's put, this is what most people want, love, and maybe we can put also acceptance. Yes? So you're looking for love and acceptance while pushing yourself. Okay, there we go. Let me put it a bit bigger. Here we go. Nope, sorry, it doesn't look well there. Here we go. So you're looking for results, like that could be the love and acceptance. Okay, so let's get the results out and let's going to leave love and acceptance there. So to get love and acceptance, you have learned that you need to beat yourself up. Again, you could have learned, and listen to that again, guys, you could have learned that beating yourself up, yes, beating yourself up is gonna bring you, in a way, love and acceptance. So it's a protective mechanism you created to try to achieve the results that you want to achieve. So now look at this again, guys. Let's go a little bit deeper now. You, yes, are judging yourself now because you judge yourself. Yes, guys, listen to that again. Yes, you tend to judge that part of you that judges you. The inner critic, let's put it this way, right, is judging you. So a lot of gurus out there are teaching you to judge the part of you that is judging. Yes. So look at this a second. Whenever you tell yourself, right, you know, you need to do this, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. And then suddenly another part of you starts saying like, no, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that. And you start criticizing or judging, or you might look another one. Yes. Shut up that part of you and says, you know, shut up. I don't want to hear you. Sorry. Whoops. Oh, sorry about that. Let's try that again. Yes. Oh, darn. There we go. A little bit better. Sorry, guys. Here we go. So people are telling you to shut up that voice. As I've spoken before, like Mel Robbins, when she says, you know, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 rule and just do whatever you want and forget about, you know, the fear or whatever you're feeling. It shuts up in an attempt the inner critic. So it's trying to shut up the part of you that is judging. So the part of you that is judging you, is trying to get results. Yes, it's a protective mechanism. By telling yourself to shut up, telling the inner critic, shut up, or by judging the inner critic that, oh, I shouldn't be judging myself. When I say I shouldn't be judging myself, in a way, I could be judging the inner critic. So if the inner critic is looking to achieve love and acceptance, guys, the inner critic wants to receive love and acceptance. That's why it's doing what it's doing. And now you, another part of you, starts judging the inner critic, starts saying that this is wrong, that you shouldn't be doing this. What do you think the inner critic, that part of you, is going to feel? If I start judging the inner critic, if I start shutting it down, if I try to ignore it, it's going to feel more or less loved. Guys, put it down in the chat. Do you think that the inner critic is going to feel more or less loved when I shut it down, when I judge it, I criticize it, I reject it, I whatever do with the inner critic, negative thing? It's going to feel, thank you, Alexa, it's going to feel less. Thank you, Susan. There we go. It's going to feel less loved. So the mechanism it created to try to receive love and acceptance, it's not working. And on top of it, it's getting it less of this. So it's getting less love and acceptance. So what is going to happen normally, guys? The inner critic is going to feel less loved and is going to get even louder and louder and louder. An inner critic, Romana, and thank you for asking that, it could be, you know, I should look really good with this video. I should be better. I should do this. Should be doing that. I should be doing this or should be doing that. That could be the inner critic telling you something like that. Yes. Okay. So Romana, that is the inner critic. This is what I'm bringing over here. Yes. Yes. Telling you that you should be doing this or that. You're telling yourself that because you want love and acceptance. Your parents taught you that by pushing yourself, criticizing that might bring you to do what they wanted. That's what I was saying at the beginning. So what you're looking is for love and acceptance. So now you became a part of you, or more or less, guys. Roman is saying that this is who she is. This is not her true self. Her true self is still this one over here, the one that says you, that is loving, supporting, and understanding. And that is to name some of our qualities. Yes, this is your true you, Romana. The problem is, again, not from this, let's put this again, from another part of you, you might be judging, right, the inner critic from another part of you that is hurt. So remember, guys, we have many hurting parts of us. Some are inner critics. Some could be, you know, parts of you that are protecting yourself with, as I was saying, you know, not taking actions, the procrastinator. So we have many unresolved issues that created kind of what we call the ego or our false self. Right? Our false selves are the ones that are criticizing or judging or rejecting the inner critic. What I want to bring today to you guys is that I want you to start understanding this mechanism that's happening in your mind, because by a part of you judging the inner critic, what you're doing is you're feeding the inner critic to get even stronger. So now the inner critic is going to be stronger and stronger towards you, because at the end of the day, what the inner critic wants is to feel loved and accepted, guys. Again, does this make sense so far, guys? I want you to type a 5 in the chat, please, a 5 in the chat, if this makes sense, what I'm sharing with you guys. If it doesn't, let me know. It's fine. We're going to repeat this. Yes? So your true self, again, love, supporting, understanding, giving, you know, caring, happy, all these things that are your true self. But then we have all these unresolved issues that we had that created parts of us. So we can have an inner critic. The inner critic is trying to protect us from, you know, not feeling love and accepted. but I do have trouble loving my critic. That's where I'm going, Suzanne. Thank you. But you'll see in a second, okay? I love what you just said. When Suzanne said it, she already moved forward into the next step. So the inner critic wants love and acceptance. So if I hate the inner critic, if I judge the inner critic, I'm not loving it. The idea, Suzanne, and this is for you, is to understand that the inner critic is a little self, a little Suzanne that wanted to feel loved and accepted. So I want you to imagine a little Suzanne that is being critic to herself and maybe even to you as a grown-up, right? I want you to imagine that inner critic as a little girl for Suzanne, little boy for you guys, whatever it is, right? Imagine a little version of you that wanted to be loved and accepted and didn't feel like that. So it created the inner critic. If you see yourself as that little kid, do you think that is going to make it a little bit more difficult, the same, or easier to love yourself, guys? Let's see. What do you think, guys? Picturing yourself as that little girl or boy that is judging you or judging herself or himself for something, doesn't it make it easier? And yes, thank you, guys. You're saying it makes it easier. Exactly. That is the idea, guys, to understand what is going on, to understand why the inner critic is there. The inner critic is a younger version of you that created that as a protective mechanism. So what that part of you needs is love and acceptance. So it's about understanding what that part of you, that I say here, you, it's a part of you, needs. That part of you needs is love and acceptance. So it's understanding that it's a protective mechanism, that you didn't know another way. In that past, when you were a little boy or little girl, you didn't know another way. So if you've learned from your environment, and your environment was about judging and criticizing, and that's what you've learned. So in most cases, guys, what I help my clients with is I help them, okay, is this way really helping you be where you want? So Romana, Suzanne, anybody watching this, guys, yes? Diana, Tony, Amber, Richard, whoever is watching this, guys, criticizing has really criticizing yourself, the inner critic, has really helped you get where you would like to in your life. Type a yes or a no in the chat if the inner critic has really been able to take you where you would have loved in your life, achieving the things that you would like to. In most cases, guys, no. Yes, kind of, but I didn't feel good. Okay, Romana, but look at your business. Have you been able to grow your business? Have you been able to really be where you would like to be, even though you have that inner critic? So the truth is no. Okay, most of the time, the inner critic is not really taking us exactly. We feel worse, yes? So it doesn't take us where we want. So what we need to do is go through these steps, guys. And I know it's going to sound weird, but is imagining that little version of yourselves saying to them, Tommy, talking to young Tommy, hey, thank you for doing this to try to help me move forward. First, we got to thank that part of us, because again, that little version of us didn't know better. So the first thing we got to do is, hey, thank you. I really appreciate what you have tried to get me moving forward. So we're acknowledging and accepting that part of us without rejecting it. So imagine if somebody is being mean to you and you look at them and say, hey, thank you. And you really mean it from a place, hey, like, thank you. You're really teaching me something very valuable here. How to set boundaries, maybe, how to love myself, even though you're attacking, whatever it is. But from there, it's like to that part of you, hey, thank you for being able to develop this mechanism because you didn't know better. First step, thank you. I understand why you did this. I understand that you didn't know better, and that's why you're doing what you're doing. But you know what? I want to learn another way because this is not serving us anymore. So I'm not judging, I'm not criticizing, I'm bringing information from a loving point of view. So thank you. I appreciate what you did because you didn't know another way, but now I'm open to learning another way. So what you're doing again, guys, is bringing love an acceptance to that part of you. You're loving and accepting that that part of you didn't do this to hurt you, did it to try to help you feel loved and accepted. So you're loving and accepting that part of you, not the critic as, hey, keep judging and criticizing me, everything's going to be okay. No, we're not saying that, guys. But what we're saying is I'm loving and accepting that part of me. I'm loving and accepting the part of me that is in pain. When I'm able to love and accept that part of me, the inner critic is going to start losing power, right? Why? Because now it's not going to need to judge or criticize me because it's feeling love and acceptance. Did you see that process, guys? Please type a 10 in the chat if this is making sense, guys. Please type a 10 in the chat if this is making sense. If we're able to give that part of us, the love and acceptance, understanding where it comes from, why it's there, we can even go deeper. How did your mom treat you? How did your dad treat you? Where did you pick these all ways to treat yourself? When able to do that, you're loving and accepting yourself, guys. Instead of judging and criticizing your inner critic that is already in pain because it wants love and acceptance, you're feeding it. So again, these techniques, look, Tony Robbins, when he makes you look into the mirror with the Dickinson method, where you got to beat yourself up. If you're, I don't know, if you're fat, right, and you're overweight and you're struggling with overweight, he's going to make you look into the mirror and picture the worst case scenario if you keep going down that road. It could be having a stroke, having a heart attack, dying, whatever. And he makes you imagine that that is where you're going to end. So now, as you're not being able to lose weight because, I don't know, you're not able to, I don't know, keep a diet, he makes you start beating yourself up. So it starts beating up the protective mechanism that is there in the first place. But that protective mechanism is there for a reason. So if you start judging and criticizing and beating up the protective mechanism, whether it is, as we spoke, procrastination, whether it is the inner critic, you are in a way rejecting that part of you. You're not giving love and acceptance to that part of you. And instead, you are hating that part of you, but you're not understanding that it's there to protect you. So again, that could be an example. Another example, and I've seen this, Mel Robbins do it several times, put a name to that voice, Tommy, put a name to that voice, Tomas, right? That's what, that's Tomas, So, okay, tell Tomas to shut up. And she has taught that. I've seen several videos where she is in her trainings, in her followings, whatever, he teaches to shut up the inner critic, to shut it up. And you know what, again, are you loving and accepting that part of you? Of course not, guys. So we need to understand why this is there, what it is protecting us from, what it is trying to achieve. When you're able to do this, now you are, in a way, loving yourself, not the inner critic, loving the part of you, right? That is you, again, not the inner critic. But as we spoke several times, you are loving the being, not the doing. The doing is the inner critic, the criticizing, the judging. But you're loving the part of you that needs that love. Whenever you love yourself, then you can start getting rid of the protective mechanism, because now you don't need the protective mechanism, guys, because that protective mechanism was there to protect you, to try to receive somehow love and acceptance that you're already giving to yourself. So instead of shutting yourself up, shut up, Tomas, I don't want to listen to this crap, reject it, ignore it, as if there's something wrong with that part of you, is, hey, I need to address this. The Dickens method is part of a bigger process. I understand, but the Dickens method is, again, that small process that I'm talking about, a disaster, Alexa, because you're beating yourself up to try to move. I recommend, and this is what I kind of share with you guys, is that we need to love ourselves. Give ourselves what you need. A person that is having troubles with eating, maybe eating disorders, is it because they're not loving themselves enough? They need to love themselves. Maybe the eating is to protect themselves from something, make themselves bigger, make themselves unhealthy so people take care of them, whatever it is, guys. But if we are able to love ourselves, then we can start taking more actions towards the gym, taking more actions toward eating healthier, or whatever it is that we're trying to change. So that's why I don't recommend those type of things. It's not about destroying the inner critic, because again, if my hand is hurting, I'm not going to bring the other hand and start beating that hand up because it's hurting. No, guys, I need to take care of this hand because it's hurting. It needs to be taken care of. There's a part of me that is not aligned with my true self. Why? Because it's being hurting. It has gone through something that created this separation from my true self, guys. So from my true self, that I am loving, supporting, understanding, I need to love, support, yes, and understand that inner critic to see why it's there, what is it protecting me from, and what does it need. When I can do that, the inner critic is going to start dissolving, guys. This is my recommendation. There are many ways. Yes, guys, you want to try other ways, beating yourself up, shutting it up, ignoring it, stomp over it because it's not you, whatever. Yeah, you can do that if you want. I'm trying to share with you guys everything that has to do with true love, unconditional love. And you've heard me say that many times, guys. If there's a part of me that is not aligned with me, I need to love that part of me because it got disaligned in the first place because of something that happened. So if I can love and accept that part of me, what's going to happen? The inner critic is going to go away, yes, and I'm going to be left with me. And this is going to fuse back to the general you, the entire consciousness that you're. So imagine that you're this consciousness, as I was saying, the you that I'm here, and then around it, all surrounding that, there's many limiting, negative, and false beliefs, false you that were created, right, during your childhood. Okay, and I can keep going with this so you can see, right? And see, this is how we are looking at it. And imagine this in 3 dimensions, where all around the main consciousness, we have parts of our consciousness that broke, quote unquote, let's put it as separated a little bit, that we need to deal with and bringing back. It's like drops of water. We got the ocean, it's us, and then we got drops of water that splashed out of the ocean that we need to bring back to the ocean so that we grow in consciousness. If you had a bucket of water and it splashed out a lot of water and then you start putting all the drops in, the volume of the water is going to go up. The consciousness starts growing, guys. And that's what we're looking for. The pieces of us that are spread around that need to come back to the consciousness so that our consciousness grows and grows and grows and grows. Exactly, Alexa. The idea is not to keep giving power for it to judge you and criticize you, but yes, to give it power, as in that is a part of you that is trying to protect you, that I was saying. Yes. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that now, one-on-one, a little bit on the laser coaching, so I can help you a little bit more with this. So it's not about giving it power that it's going to keep judging and criticizing me. It's about loving it so it stops judging and criticizing. Because again, it's judging and criticizing because it wants to feel loved and accepted. It thinks that by judging and criticizing, it's gonna get the acceptance and the love that it needs. Beautiful said, put it back to the ocean. Exactly. So perfectionism, imposter syndrome, those are different things that we can change. Inner critic, we can change this inner critic into imposter. Yes. I put now on in procrastination. I can put another one over here. Perfectionism. Perfect. Doesn't make it easy when it's so small, guys. Perfectionism. Yes, and we can keep adding different meaning to each one of these, guys. So again, when we're standing on one of these, we're standing in our full self. And a lot of people are standing there 24/7. So the idea is to be able to start identifying those parts of us that are hurting, become more of our true self, get that part of us that got separated, dissociated, and bring it back so it becomes more of who we really are. And that's how we manifest more, again, who we are here in this world, okay? So I hope this makes sense. I know it's a little bit complicated. Maybe you're gonna need to go back and listen to this again, guys, to understand this. But judging the judger, judging the person that is judging will not really bring solutions, guys. It's gonna make this, and in that sense, yes, you're giving it more power. By judging, rejecting, ignoring, you're giving the inner critic more power. So instead, I want to invite you to explore and learn, identify, acknowledge, accept, learn what's going on with the inner critic, why it's there, why, what is it protecting you from, what is it needing, give that inner critic what it needs, the acceptance, the love, the recognition that it needs, and the inner critic is going to start fading away. It's not going to happen overnight, guys. Remember, we've been doing this for our entire life. And even today, people are teaching how to shut up the inner critic, how to judge it, or how to whatever, so that it doesn't bother. It actually, most people, for most people, it doesn't work like that. So I hope it makes sense. Let me know in the chat, guys, if, again, on social media, if this makes sense, type a yes. Okay, I would love to hear some of your comments there on social media. And I'm going to stay here on Zoom doing a little bit more Q&A, questions, answers, and helping people understand this a little bit more, because it's a very important topic, because all of us, in one sense or another, guys, we have this inner critic in many manifestations, okay? Because again, we could have picked this along our life in different areas, right? That we created several inner critics. So we might deal with one, and another one might appear. So again, is loving those parts of us that need to fuse back to our true self, but they need to be cleaned first, right? To then be able to be absorbed by. So imagine, again, you got the ocean, you have a drop that has been contaminated. So you want to clean it up, you want to detox the drop of water and then put it back to the ocean. This is what we're doing, guys. Detoxing and putting back the drops with the truth into the consciousness, so it grows. So again, thank you very much again. I hope you enjoyed this, guys, and we're going to continue now on Zoom. Thank you again. Bye.